Good morning to you, our audience. Ted and Ed TV channel welcome each of you to our weekly Saturday broadcast where we give insightful views on economic, political, world, and environmental issues concerning how money connects those matters. Our hosts, Mr. Ted Harvey Sr. and Mr. Edward Bishop III, are now taking each of you into our world of money and its value, along with the evils that come from the greed of hoarding financial power. He that controls the gold controls the important decisions in this world.
Look at that instead of they hear you talking, but then when they see it, it's just like the power of significance. If I had like 5 or 6 points on this book, then it would really come out. Well, we want to welcome our people coming in. Ed was trying to trick me while I was talking, and
You had a very important, you
welcome.
were talking about some very important stuff, so I figured that the audience need to hear this because, part of our pre-production and everything, we talk here about what we're going to be talking about on this show. But anyway, good morning to everybody. Good morning, you, Ted. I'm doing well, and how are you?
I'm doing well. Everything is good. I'm just enjoying my Saturday morning. Had my coffee this morning, and I'm ready to go.
Well, I've had my first cup. I'm on my second one, and once I finish the second one, I'm done for the day. No more coffee. I get 2 cups, and that's it. I'm regulating myself. Now I might mess with this little cup right here for a while, and it's about almost a little over half full right now. So I'll sip on it most of the day, but that's some of the other cup I'll have.
Did you say regulate?
Yeah.
You regulate yourself.
Yeah, I regulate myself. I'll sip a little bit of this. I'll be when the show goes off, I'll still have about a half a cup, and then during the day, might come back and just sip on a little bit of it until I get tired of it. It gets cold, and I'll throw it away.
So why do you regulate yourself with coffee? Because there are people that drink 5, 6, 7 cups of coffee.
I know my body can't stand all that caffeine.
Oh, so when you regulate yourself, then you sort of kind of help yourself to stay healthy because you know what you can take.
Well, most people don't do what we do sometimes. When my body tells me something, I listen.
Because
our body tells us stuff, and most of the time we don't listen.
right. And when we were talking about this earlier, you said you regulate yourself, which is great because a lot of people don't regulate themselves and they go overboard on certain things, like drugs or candy, alcohol, and they don't regulate themselves because they don't realize that you can overdose on just about anything. You can overdose on food. That's sort of kind of like a cruel word, overdose. But you can sort of kind of satisfy yourself with overindulgence in food. That's why a lot of people are overweight. Like for myself, I'll regulate myself when it comes to food. Now, my wife is an excellent cook, but I only get one plate. I fill my plate up, and whatever I have on my plate, that's all I eat. I don't go back for seconds. Now, I might eat those seconds the next day for lunch, but I don't eat no more than that one plate. I don't go back for seconds or I don't go back for thirds.
Well,
And, and that
that's
helps
your
keep my weight
that's
down.
that's your regulation. Uh, I found out that when my wife does her cooking, I'll get me a plate about this big, a saucer. And I'll put whatever that saucer hold, I put it on there.
Do you go
Now,
back for seconds?
no, I don't do that. What I
Oh,
do is what I do and stuff is that, and a lot of people find this out, and you have to know your body. I'll get hungry again. I don't care how much I eat. I'm gonna get hungry again. I'm gonna get hungry. I'm gonna get hungry. So by me eating out of that little saucer, a little small portion and stuff and everything, I can probably eat 4 or 5 times a day.
Okay.
So I eat the little saucer, satisfy that little hunger I got and everything. And I go off and do what I got to do. When I get hungry again, I get me a little bit more. Get hungry again, give me a little bit, my little saucer. That's it.
That's it. And
Yeah.
when you regulate yourself, you sort of kind of like you said, listen to your body.
Mhm.
Well, it's the same thing when it comes to the environment. When you flood the oceans with plastics and oil and everything, and obviously the people that are in charge of those mechanisms are out there unregulated. That's why we have regulations right now. You know, I just saw that 45 just unregulated people for using all kinds of small things that people were trying to cut back, and he just unregulated it. So now it's up to each individual state or different counties or whatever, if they're going to regulate these autos and what have you. So self-regulation is good, but there are people out there that go overboard or they overdose, because I believe that the climate is very important. And I just read something the other day saying that the ocean has gotten warmer and warmer than it has ever gotten before. And and there's something about science that is really important, and people are not listening. And it's really affecting our environment, from the ocean to the air and the water. Because when you keep on doing fracking or you keep drilling, what you're doing is you're damaging Mother Earth. So that's something that regulations is important, and I just want to put that out there. I mean, everybody say, "Oh, it, it'll be all right. It'll be all right." But anyway, I just wanted to sort of throw that in there.
Yeah, because we got some topics that we got to get into. And the first one here that's coming up on our list here that you brought to my attention yesterday when we were talking about our agenda is border security.
Oh yes, it. That's crazy, man. We are spending, in the last 30 years, we have spent over $1 trillion in border security. When I say $1 trillion, these all kinds of hiring people and building so-called walls and putting people in jail for crossing the borders and taking people back when they're here illegal. All kinds of things. We have spent $1 trillion trying to stop people from coming over here, and a lot of times uh, we pick up that cost. The taxpayer is picking up that cost right now. Uh, the proposal is, and this is what 45 is trying to do, trying to get $70 billion to build the wall. It will cost the American public 50 million to maintain that wall. We have over 20,000 ICE people, and which is a form of police that actually go into and look for people that are undocumented. That's a lot of money. And the Center for Immigration says that in the last 5 years, we have spent over $106 billion for border enforcement. So, what we try to do on this show, in my mind, is we follow the money. Now, $106 billion is a lot of money. That means some people are making a lot of money. You know what that averages out? You know, like they talking about bringing the border security people out there, border patrol people, 20,000 people. That averages out to $171,000 a year for those people riding around in their trucks and catching these people and sending them back or putting them in jail. And so, and border security is important, obviously, because, you know, I'm not going to sit there and say that, but the point is how you going to stop these people? How you going to?
Well, Ted is I'm gonna be a devil's advocate here. Why do we want to do this, or the government wants to do this? What reasons do they have to do that?
What reason?
It's I have to look at the fact and stuff, Ted, that uh, let's bring this down to a local stuff here. This is local here. I'm taking it down local. I'm taking all the way back down to my own personal self and your own personal self. You stay in your home. Would you want anybody to come into your house if you didn't invite them?
No.
Okay. I feel the same way. This is country is our house. We have to protect our borders because eventually, if too many folks come up in here, yes, country is going to be overwhelmed and it will no longer be the country and stuff that we decide to live in. It is a necessary evil. It is not bad. It is a necessary evil. And you're finding that there are other countries and stuff around the world who are doing the same thing. You got Germany, you got France, United Kingdom. They have a stabilized area, and there are people who are leaving their country and coming to their country, and they're regulating them. Is that you can't come up in here into our country and stuff unless we invite you to come or we allow you to come to our country. That's the same thing that's going on now. We look at it as a bad thing, but a lot of people pay a lot of money to secure their properties. They have an alarm system there because somebody wants to come into your house and they may have good intentions. Well, I don't have what you got, so I want to come up in there and enjoy what you got. And you telling them, no, 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 no. You can't come up in here unless I invite you to come. And that's the way borders is down there. I'm looking at it in the sense of what the people down there on those border states and stuff feel. That these people are going to eventually come in here and overwhelm our system, and you're not going to be able to control it. So you control your borders who come in, so you can be able to still live like we're living and stuff right now. We can't support all those people who are coming into this country. There's no way that you can support them. No way. But like you was getting ready to say, yes, we pay a lot of money for border security. People are making money. You got your border patrol people. They got money. They come in there and they're taking care. They go home. When they leave off to the border, they go home. They take care of their family because we're paying for that. You have all this equipment that they have out there to protect the borders and stuff. The people who supply those equipment and stuff, yes, they take that money and stuff and from the government and stuff because they're protecting their borders and they go home and they're keeping it up. They're buying their homes. They're taking care of their families. They got health insurance. They got all that stuff.
Pensions.
Yeah, pensions, whatever. All that stuff is there and people are using that. But the fact is and stuff that you got all these people and stuff who are coming into your country uninvited and overwhelm your system because and you can't blame them and stuff for it, Ted, because they're in a horrible situation. I feel for them. Every last, all them tens of thousands that's supposed to be heading up here, I feel for them. Children being whatever, I feel for them. I really do. But what do we do if they get a chance to make it here or they illegally cross that border? Because we're
Well,
not letting them in there.
here's the hub, and this is just my own personal feelings about it. Is that we live in a capitalist society, and because we live in a capitalist society, uh, we have set it up where people pay taxes, property tax, sales tax, and on and on. And a lot of countries that are like last week, our show was about Guatemala and El Salvador and all these countries. They're mostly, they try to live on a certain way as far as capitalism, but most of those countries are living basically from hand to mouth because of resources. They have very limited resources when it comes to making money, meaning that agriculture was a big part of a lot of these people's existence. You know, so what do they have? If you look at from state to state, like here in the United States, uh, every state has something to offer. Florida has used to have be one of the top orange growers in the world. It's no longer. Florida is a tourist attraction now. Over 100 million people come here every year in Florida for tourism because we have beautiful beaches. We have all kinds of attractions like Disneyland and what have you. Same thing in California.
Well,
So
and can I interject just one little thing?
go ahead.
Suppose, Ted, those 100 million people stayed in Florida.
A lot of them do. They stay. They don't come. They don't leave.
But suppose it equals up to that 100 million. What if 100 million people decide they want to come there to Florida and stay?
Well, the point is that right now, I don't know the exact number, but I know it's in the tens of thousands every year come here to stay.
But we're talking about 100 million. Suppose 100 million who came there to that state because they like that state. They came there because they like Florida. They like those beaches and they like what's going on there in Florida, the climate and everything. And they said, I'm going to stay here. 100 million of them.
Well,
Could,
I
Florida,
mean,
could, Florida, could Florida support 100 million people?
Florida really can't support what they have here now.
Oh, that's my point. But that's what you're getting into and stuff, Ted, when we're talking about our security for our borders and stuff and everything. What is going to happen here? This situation stuff, Ted, had brought to light a whole lot of stuff because I'm like I keep saying it's so I feel for those people who come in there. Hey, but
Now,
can we support all of them? Can
what I was
can we
getting,
support that?
what I was getting to is the bottom line. I was sort of kind of going around about it, but we give aid to hundreds, basically hundreds of countries, and one thing for sure is that we have these finance people and professors and people that are really smart, brilliant people. And one of the things that they have been trying to do for the last 30 years is go out and teach capitalism, entrepreneurship, and which of course is lacking a lot here in the United States, but all kinds of things are available to help people to become entrepreneurs. But the one thing that that has captivated. And I was looking at the different countries who have who's able to sell commodities and stocks and has set up their markets. And a lot of countries do have that system, that mechanism. And the two things that how people make money is one is in the stock market, and the other is selling goods. If you don't have anything to sell, you can't make no money. So the
Is
thing,
do you think capitalism is good for Guatemala and El Salvador, and because we live on a capitalist system and stuff here in the United States, is that capitalist system good for Guatemala or El Salvador?
well, when you get into trade and
But you don't have to be a capitalist country to deal in trade.
that's true. But what I'm saying is that when you are, the thing is that I think a lot of things can transpire. You don't have to be a corporation. You can be a co-op. You can, different communities can have their own kinds of businesses, and you can do that in a certain way. So if you have a co-op of, let's say, 100 people, and say that we're going to make baskets, and we're going to sell those baskets, and 100 people co-op together, and they all own a part of that company, and then you export those different baskets all over the world. That's not a total capitalist, but that's ownership of people owning that particular company, and everybody has a piece of that company. So the point is that I think there's all kinds of ways that people can make money, and you don't necessarily have to have a whole lot of material goods or resources to make money. You know, but the point is that a lot of people were so depending on that agriculture system, and growing crops and selling crops and what have you. But there are all kinds of ways to make money. Just like the tourism system. I was listening to a program this morning about 4 o'clock this morning, and they was talking about the uh, what do they call that place in California? Uh,
I'm gonna ask you this question now. We've been on a topic called border security, and
mhm.
you done got off into capitalism and everything else. What about border security? I'm still
It all ties in. It all ties in. The reason why I'm
ties
saying it
in how? How does it tie in? To tell me.
ties because why are people leaving? Why are they leaving their country? The reason why they're leaving is because there's nothing to offer there in their country. They were doing certain kinds of work, and that work is gone because corporate America has taken over and became bigger and bigger, and now they can't import or
What does corporate America have to do with Guatemala or El Salvador?
just told you. If you think about it in
I
a
don't
bigger
understand. I don't understand how that correlates. How El Salvador and Guatemala and American corporation. It's
you, you know, what do you think one of the biggest industries here in Florida is? Hospitality.
tourism.
Right. So that's what
Right.
I'm trying to tell you. So when 100 million people come here and they spend billions and billions of dollars, people are making money. Well, in each country, they have to figure out what is their most attractive way of getting their people to work. And we're not talking about a lot
That's
of people.
that's that. Now you're getting to where I'm asking you. You can't go to these countries and export your ideals and everything to them. You said the magic word. They have to determine. Those people there in Guatemala and El Salvador have to determine what they need to be able to keep their people in their country.
Right. And
What
that's
do
why
they need? And that is their determination to make. You can't go in there and export capitalism to them. Let them do that, because each individual area and stuff is different, just like it is here in our country. You got different areas all around this country, and all of them operate differently within the system that we have. So we can't go down there and tell Guatemala, you need to be a capitalist, you need to sell this, you need to sell it, you need to have a
Well,
stock market.
you don't have to. You don't have
Yeah.
to. You don't go around there and tell people. You
Well,
go
that's
down
what you were saying.
there and tell people. You sell people. You sell people on
No,
a.
you don't sell them nothing. They have to determine how they want to do this.
So, so
It's their
but
country.
Ed, listen. Do you think China would be in existence if they didn't do part of their communist system as capitalists? I
But
mean,
they but they're only using a small part of it, Ted, because they still have their government still determines what the heck happened. It is not like here in the United States. They have a stock exchange, they have all that stuff, but they also have government services and stuff, and the government still determines and stuff what the heck happened, because if the government don't like what they're doing, I don't care who they are, they will not stay in existence.
it's the same way here.
No, not the same way.
Oh yeah.
Not the same way.
Okay,
They
you get
have
out your
they
wait,
are
wait
you
a minute.
have, as long as you stay within those laws and stuff and everything,
There
then
you
you're
go.
okay.
There you go. Cause you get your butt out there and drive your car and you don't put on your seatbelt, what's gonna happen?
That's different, Ted. We're talking about how a
Isn't that
government and stuff
isn't that
determines. You talking about how a government tells
hey,
their people and stuff what they do. You have a government over there, Ted, that
you don't
has
think they're doing that?
millions of people and stuff that they are holding down. It's not
Well,
a
who's
totally
doing
capitalist
it?
democratic country. They
Ed,
have there's a communist country.
Ed, we are doing the same
No, we're
thing.
not. It's not the
Yes,
same
we are.
thing. It is not the same thing,
Are.
Ted. You have to look at it, not the same thing. What goes on in China ain't the same thing. Most of us can't live in China.
No, I'm not talking about well, they're doing it in such an excess way to try to control people, but they have problems themselves. We just
Everybody has problems.
wait a minute. Listen to what I'm
Everybody has problems in their particular form of government. They all have
saying.
problems.
Ed. What I'm saying is, look what China is right now trying to do now. They got millions of cameras all over the country, and they're talking about putting another millions and millions of cameras so that they can keep their eye on their people or what's going on.
Right?
That's control. Do you don't think that they're not doing the same thing here in the United States?
No, not like they're doing there in China. They're not.
NSA is tracking your phones, they're tracking your computers if you are a threat. You have video cameras everywhere you go. You can't go into the grocery store, you can't go to a bank, you can't go to a department store. You can't even go into a 7-Eleven without being videotaped.
It's what you do, Ted, with that data that determines if you are going to be free or if you are in a communist state.
Well,
That data that they're using and stuff and everything, where they're tracking all of their people and stuff and everything, belongs to the government, and they're saying this is what we're going to do with it, and you don't have anything to say about it. At least in this country and stuff, we have a voice to open up our voices and say, if enough people say we don't
yeah,
want
after
this
this
crap to
stuff already
happen, it
been
doesn't happen. But in a communist China, you can't have all those people rising up and saying that no, don't do this, because they will knock you down and beat you up, and they will
I'm not
use what they
disagreeing.
want to
Yeah,
keep their country as communist.
know that already. We already
But
know.
let's get to back to my thing. Now I got stuff we gonna talk about. Cause
What you want to talk about?
this our president and stuff
Oh,
has done something here, and he has his cabinet and stuff, and all these other people who have followed suit and everything with it. We talked about climate change and how he has left the Paris Agreement, where 100 and some nations and stuff have said they want to keep the Paris Accord. He decided, oh, I'm going to leave that. But there's something else that's going on here that is going to affect us. And and what happens and stuff here and everything is going to be, could be a devastating thing. He removed the United States from the Iran deal.
Yep.
The Iran nuclear deal. Come Monday, the full force of those sanctions and stuff that the United States wants to have comes into effect.
Yep.
And the United States is the only country that had pulled out of that Iran deal.
Mm-hmm.
You have United Nations and stuff ratified those sanctions that they had came forth and everything by removing those sanctions from Iran. The UK ratified it, saying, yep, this is what we want to happen. Germany said, yes, this is what we want to happen. France wanted to stay under that agreement. This is what we want to happen. The Soviet Union says, yep, this is what we want to happen. You have one country, the United States, who was standing alone to become the bully and say, we don't want you guys to do this, and we're going to do everything we can to stop you all. One country
Mm-hmm.
against almost the world. What's going to happen?
That's a good question. What's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
Because we are what? We're 25% of the population of the world, and we
Probably not
use
even that. Probably not even that. Probably lower than that. When you're talking about China being and India
maybe
being billions.
5%. So the point is that, but we use so much energy, oil, gas, and then we count on so many people to bring in so many different products. So, and then we trade not only goods and services, but we trade financial services. $25 trillion on both ends, on all over the world. 25 trillion come here to invest, and we invest 25 trillion over there, all over the world. And it's sort of kind of like a buddy system. People, we got offices, they got financial offices all over the place. They got major corporations that's manufacturing stuff. So what is going to happen with our relationship with the rest of these companies? Because major corporations, these international corporations have already, they got deals working with all these countries. And that's going to cause a headache.
I can see that, like the tariffs that have been placed up on China and what's going on there, that if you are a company and you got a supplier who's sitting out there who is supplying you with what you need to keep your company running,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden this supplier, for some reason or another, can't supply you with your raw materials to keep your company going, and they're having a difficult time supplying you with your raw materials. So you are sitting there and your whole being is dependent upon the raw materials that come from your supplier, and you put in your whole system and stuff in jeopardy because you can't supply them with their materials. What is that company here going to do? They're going to find somebody else to supply them with what they need.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what is going on and nobody is sitting there talking about and everybody is sitting there, well, he's the president, he can do this stuff. He is putting our financial strength in jeopardy.
Yep.
Because Iran is still sitting out here. They complied with all the things that they were asked to do. They complied.
Yep.
United Kingdom, France, Germany, and the Soviet Union, and all the other countries and stuff rely on the United States financial strength right now.
Yep.
These people, when they find out that this bully here that he thinks he's going to bully these people and not give them their financial things that they're supposed to be giving, was stopping them from starting their own financial strength.
Nothing.
Nothing is stopping them.
No.
So he is putting our financial strength in jeopardy. And the ramifications and tear from doing that is going to be felt a long way. And most of these people are sitting around here and not saying a word about it. This is going to be devastating to our country.
Yeah, I agree.
And nobody is opening their mouth and saying anything about it because right now, all the finances and stuff rolls through our country.
Mm-hmm.
We control it.
Yep.
So when you take your control and stuff and say, hey, I don't want you out to do this, and what you're doing is unfair, and you don't have nobody within this system who agrees with what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
No one, not one country, not even the Soviet Union
But wait a minute.
agrees with this.
But what you're saying is absolutely right. And then, but look at this. What is the dollar going to be valued at? That's the question. Because
The dollar will no longer have the strength that it has. This is what this man is putting in jeopardy.
yeah, yeah. You go over there and you got $1,000. Let's say you go over to Europe and you got $1,000 spent, but really it's only worth 500.
These people, Ted, are talking about bypassing our financial system and building their own financial system
Mm-hmm.
because of what this man is doing. And if they start heading that way and they start doing this, they're not going to go back. You're going to be competing now with their financial system that they have built up to get around your sanctions.
Yeah.
Because Iran hasn't done anything. Listen to these people in Iran. These people are laughing at the United States. They're telling the United States, they're giving them the finger. Forget you. You can't stop us from selling our oil because people are going to buy it. China is going to buy our oil.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to buy our oil. The European Union is going to buy our oil.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have our own way of paying Iran back for oil.
Yeah.
Just like he has started a storm that these farmers in the Midwest right now it's gonna be very, 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 very difficult for them to come back from this tariff that he has started and stuff with them because China is not going to let the United States hold them hostage.
That's right.
And they are looking to become the number one nation in the world and not our country the way it is now. He is putting all this in jeopardy with his
Yeah, China,
stupidity
China's doing some things that are extraordinary. They are investing in the
everywhere.
everywhere, but especially in the continent of Africa.
Absolutely.
I mean, they pouring
Big
billions
money.
of dollars, big money,
Big
and they're not
money.
even asking for anything back. I mean,
Absolutely.
they're going around investing this and doing this and building this and building that because they know that they need resources. They need resources, certain things that they need out of that continent so that they can continue to exist. And because they have such a they have so many investors from the United States and all over the world that's coming in there, and they have the people that are they have like you were saying earlier, they control those people, so those people over there have to work 16 hours a day or whatever they do to make their little living working under their thumb in all kinds of factories, building all kinds of things, tile goods, all that kind of stuff, clothing, all of that. So
So what they're doing and stuff, in essence, Theodore, they're saying to the United States, we want these other countries and and these territories to look to us instead of the United States for leadership. And once that happens, we done lost our spot, buddy. And we quickly get ready to lose it. We have to take this man out of office because he's crazy. He's crazy. He is absolutely, and I'm following
well,
Lawrence
well, they
O'Donnell's
gotta
thing.
take
He is
Pence.
stupid and he's crazy.
Well, they got to take Pence too because Pence is going to be worse.
No, we don't have to take Pence. You got you got 2 years in which to get both of them son of guns out of their daggone
In
house.
2 years, man, a whole lot of damage can
two
be done.
years, yes, sir. So we got in 2 years, we better get that boy out of there quick because we're gonna ruin us. I mean, he is out there, and most people and stuff, Ted, aren't looking down the road at what's going on. They don't have time, just like you said, they're working 16 hours a day. They don't have time to sit there and uh, find out and do research and stuff as to what's going on and stuff out there in this world. And most people were looking at our UN and United Nations ambassador, and she quit.
Yep.
A lot of people are looking at it. Well, she quitting because she got some debt here, or this is going on. I don't believe that's the reason why she quit. I believe she understood that our power is being quickly taken away from us by
Diminished.
this idiot that she was sitting out there working with.
Didn't they walk out on her, or she had
Absolutely.
to walk out or something?
Absolutely. She was very upset because she was trying to get these folks to walk in with her and they would not do it. They treated her just like dirt. And she hollered and screamed and stuff. We're going to hold you hostage. We're going to hold you hostage. You can't sit there as one nation against what, 188 countries and stuff and say you're going to bully all of them? Uh-uh. You better grab some alliances and stuff there. And I don't see them doing that.
And here's the deal, that's the reason why 45 is threatening to cut off totally a lot of this foreign aid that's going out there. But the point is that we're borrowing right now. Our budget, we're almost a trillion over our budget right now. That ain't even counting all the money that we owe already in as far as the deficit.
But the
So
ramifications of that tear in this Iran deal here is huge. If you can't control your dollar, and that starts falling down. It's like a rippling effect. Everything gonna fall out. You throw
well,
a rock in the ocean, it's gonna fall. And just like you were saying, it ain't you are messing with your deficit and stuff here. You got a deficit here that you got to deal with. Right now, most people are buying your debt.
Yep.
And if you can't get people to buy your debt, we're going to be looking like Turkey.
Mm-hmm. And that's what 45 seems like
He is ignorant. He
he's
has
trying to.
no idea. And most of the people around him are trying to tell him, and he doesn't listen. He's the president.
Well, it's just like what a lot of people are saying. What was the first thing I heard? Malcolm, the security, not security, but terrorist expert, saying that what was the first thing that he said that he wanted to do? He wanted to get rid of the UN.
He can't get rid of them, not by himself. Not if all the other countries want to keep stay in the UN. Okay, you don't want the UN, get out. Start your own. Start your own with who? Everybody else love it. He hasn't got any friends out there. When Bush went into their war in Iraq, he at least had one major country to follow him into that.
Hmm.
Trump ain't got nobody. He's not even asking anybody for help. He's treating all of them like dogs. You can't do that out there. You might be able to do that in his business world, but you can't do that out there in the political world and expect that to bring forth monies and stuff for your country, for the people who are dependent upon your decisions to make good decisions and stuff out there in the world that's going to benefit our country. Can't be just Trump.
I agree, and I don't know.
And I'm just saying and stuff. I can see some bad ramifications if this thing does not get itself straightened out. Because I can already see that these farmers and stuff and everything are seriously hurt. And I know he gave them $6 to $7 billion and stuff as a gift and stuff and everything. But they still got to apply for the daggone money to get it, and there ain't no guarantee they're going to get it. He was just appeasing them.
Well, if you listen to the other side, and what I mean by that is these libertarians and conservatives, they think all of this is a good thing. A lot of these people think this is a good thing. All of this tariff stuff. You know, not hooking up with the Iranians and not keeping that deal, and the UK and all of that. They got what they got going on. All this stuff is a good thing. Being a
But
nationalist, being a
but
nationalist
but
is is
he
what.
has something, Ted, that the other folks and stuff. I don't know if you listen to Rachel Maddow and Lawrence O'Donnell and stuff this last week and stuff and everything, and how the politicians and stuff and everything are treating this man. Most of them, even his own people, Republicans, they are looking at this mess here and everything. He has the bully pulpit. When you get the bully pulpit, then those same people you're talking about that you say, well, they like it, they like it, they like it. They are not saying anything. It doesn't mean they like it. They are not saying anything because, and yeah, I go right back to what Andrew Gillum says. When you see a pig, you can't fight that pig because you're going to get dirty with him. You're going to get dirty with him. And they are not fighting him because they don't want to get dirty, because he likes, as a pig likes to get dirty. And most of these people and stuff don't want to get dirty and stuff now with him. But they are hoping that after this midterm and stuff, that they can be able to rein his buddy in and use the Democrats to do it, rein him in. And they not going to do nothing about it. They're going to sit back and let him sit down there and use his bully pulpit and everything and see what he can do. But they are not going to fight if they come in there. If the Democrats get the House, they're not going to fight the Democrats while they rein him in. They're going to let him sit out there and die because they understand what's going on here. But you can't fight him because he's a dirty pig. He's a pig. You can't get into that with him because he
So
just
wait
like
a minute.
now.
Wait
Yeah,
a minute.
go ahead.
More astute than myself than this politics. Are you trying to tell me that the Republicans Party have caved? Is that what you're saying?
No, I ain't saying they have caved. I am saying that they are, I'm trying to find a good word to put it. They're not saying nothing. And they're letting whatever he can do, letting him do it by himself. Whatever he can get done, he can get it done by himself. Now, if it benefits one of them, then they're gonna be okay with it. But they're not, most of them aren't really supporting him as strongly as he wants to be supported out there because they know. And you look at Speaker Ryan, I know he's leaving out of there and everything. When he brought forth that birthright thing, he spoke up and said, hey, he don't know what the heck he's talking about. So he getting, there's chink in the armor. There are people out there and stuff that are sitting there and letting him do what he want to do because they can't stop him. You got the House, people in the House, you got people up there in the Senate and stuff and everything. They aren't telling him what to do and stuff. Trump is the one that's actually putting his schedule to go out and deal with this election and stuff, going to these people's home ground, having a rally and stuff. A lot of times, Ted, some of these folks and stuff that he having to rally for, they ain't showing up.
Yeah.
You look at the Pittsburgh thing. When he forced his way over there into there, them daggone Jews said, we don't want you here. And he said, I'm coming anyway. Well, he couldn't get not one politician, not even a Republican to come with him. He got some chink in his armor, Ted.
Well, we just gotta hope that
ain't no hope. It's gonna happen. Come Tuesday, it's gonna happen. He's gonna lose that house. It's
so
done.
what about the Senate? What about the Senate?
Well, they're hoping that they can get the Senate and stuff, but Mitch McConnell, that's his baby. He wants to keep it because he has his own agenda in mind that he wants to keep going on. Now he could lose the Senate too, but they're absolutely sure that their house is gone. Now the Senate could be gone too. It all depends. But they're not sure. It's too close. So they're hoping that the Democrats get in and rein him in because, see, they can't do it. As Republicans, they can't do it. They can't. We saw that. They let him do what the heck he wanted to do. What major legislation has he passed other than the tax cut in 2 years?
Nothing.
Nothing.
All he's did is deregulated a lot of stuff.
And he got both houses of Congress. The only thing that he has done, big major stuff, is pass that tax cut.
Well, he got two justices, and then he got a ton of.
That's not major. That's not anything major. We can deal with that. Those are minor stuff. The only time that the Supreme Court going to come into play anything is probably about 10% or 5% of what you're doing and stuff out there. Because remember, Ted, politics is always local. Your justice system is mostly local.
Okay.
So you can avoid them, the Supreme Court, because they're only going to take on major cases. That's it. Now he might get involved if they got an election like they did in 2000. Yeah, Supreme Court coming involved in that, having to do with keeping, you got Bush into office through the Supreme Court. But They only can do so much. You can't depend on the Supreme Court to take care of all this stuff because you still have those lower justice system, and sometimes and stuff, you can keep that daggone court, your case and stuff, into these lower courts and stuff for years, decades before it ever reaches the Supreme Court. And they can't take care of everything. Their docket only can hold maybe 10 cases at the most. That's it. They're only in session, what, 8 months out of the year? That's it.
Well, let's move on here because we are almost out of time, Ed. I mean, this hour done shot by.
We out of
And
time, Mr. Harvey. We we out of time.
we got a few
Oh,
minutes.
now, well, I want to we got one other important thing to the midterm. The midterm election.
Yeah. We don't.
Andrew needs everybody's help. Get out there and vote, people. Stacey Abrams needs you guys' help. Get out there and vote, people.
What about the guy in Maryland? What is he doing?
I don't know. Nobody talks about him. Old Ben Jealous. I think they're pretty sure because he's a Democrat and it's a Democratic state that he's going to win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's a given that he's going to win that. He's a Democrat in a staunchly the Democratic state. I'm pretty sure they figure he's going to win that without any problem at all. Because you're not going to see any Oprah Winfrey or Barack Obama coming into that state to help that man out because it would be a waste of their time. But I saw something, Ted, that really, and we start talking about voter suppression and all this stuff that these folks are doing. You're finding out now that, especially with Stacey Abrams and stuff now, about voter suppression, how it's supposedly hurt. But we find out and stuff, Ted, that, and I found that out in 2008 and 2012, that there are people in our race and stuff, Ted, that have the ability to vote and don't vote.
That's crazy.
They don't go out and vote. I walked some streets and stuff, Ted, in 2008 for Barack Obama. I walked some streets in 2012 for Barack Obama. I heard the same thing from these young folks. They sitting out there. Oh, I ain't got no vote. I don't need to vote. My vote don't matter. Now, they already got vote suppression going on where they telling people they got to stop. But you also got folks and stuff who in our community who won't go out and vote. A big majority of them, large majority of them, Ted, they won't go out and vote. And they have the ability to do it. They won't go out and vote. They're suppressing themselves. And I think that when Oprah came here too and did that a big thing for Stacey Abrams in our state, one of the things that she was part of her speech and everything was the apathy within our folks about voting.
Yeah, people died. People
Died. Shed blood.
Got halfway beat to death trying to get that right in the South. And even, they talk about the South, but then, there were issues, in the Middle East, Midwest, people, there were voter suppression there. I can tell you stories when we lived in Chicago, people was having issues and I was just a young teenager then. But anyway, we're running out of time, man.
Yes, man, I know, man. But I just want to make sure everybody knew to get out there and vote. Stop worrying. Stop saying your vote don't matter. It does. I stood in line and voted. I voted. I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna try to vote every election.
It took me 15
just like in 2016, there's no way in the world that I wanted to vote. There's no way in the world I wanted to vote for Trump or Hillary, But I got out there and I voted. I exercised my right. And I remember Mr. Harvey did the same thing. He went out there, exercised his vote. So, well, they're going to have to pull his vote. I got to pull one. I got to pull one for HC. Hillary, here you go. I don't know what's going to happen, but here you go. But she lost.
Yeah.
And now we see what we got.
It's horrible.
Now we see what we got.
Well,
so anyway,
I'm reading this book, and I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna be done. It's called The Power of Significance by John C. Maxwell. He's a longtime pastor for over 30 years, probably longer than that, and he's written a number of books. And he's not one of my favorite authors, but he's a good author as far as the philosophy of life. And one of the things that he was saying is that you have to have a purpose. And I think a lot of people do not have a purpose. And you have to find out what's your why. But here's a quote that he used by T.S. Eliot. He says, if you aren't in over your head, how do you know how tall you are? We got to start getting over our head, man. We got to start doing things out the box. We got to start doing things that's significant to help other people. And that's one of our purposes, to help people. And if we can just realize that, in my mind, help people. Because there's a lot of talented people out there that's just not helping. They're just being selfish. I got mine. You got to get yours.
anyway, Mr. Harvey, it was good talking to you this morning. I hope everybody, people who didn't see this thing live, that they go and look at our recorded version. It'll probably be out there on Facebook and our website probably Monday, because I got a lot of stuff going on this weekend, so it'll probably be Monday. So anyway, continue to follow us, and we're going to follow this money no matter where it goes, and let people know what's happening out there with your money.
Yes.
And we want to say bye-bye.
Hey baby, what you trying to do? Spent the night just trying to find you. You the hottest one under the sun, and I'm under your spell. We stuck just like glue. You ain't got the free crib, oh well. You ain't making head to the hotel. Whatever we do, just don't tell. I don't need anybody all on my coattail. I feel your energy and I ain't trying to fight it. Your vibe is way too exciting. I know I'm who you wanna ride with. Don't fake it, I know that you like it.
It's more than just emotions. I get it, more emotions. All you gotta do is focus, not what you used to, but you like it. But you like it. Ooh, yeah. I've been out here looking for you. Just something special, man.
Get up on my roller coaster, get inside my